so excited to be here. I did not know postcards was one of your favorite things. I've got to
It
send you one.
is. Yeah, so tell me about the message of a postcard, what it meant to you and how it became this really like radical sensation pretty quickly. I kind of think it's kind of like caught you off guard in the expeditious thing that the Lord does, but he moves quickly as we were talking about
I
offline.
know. Tamra, it has been nuts. So today I was actually talking to one of my board members on the phone before this podcast, and we're talking kind of like what's the next step, and we're like, this has only been a year, like right at a year.
Wow.
So, anyways, okay, this is the long story short. I worked corporate America. I worked for Walmart for about 6 years. I live in Bentonville still, their headquarters, the home of Walmart. And I
Wow.
did a quick stint after I had my daughter with YouVersion, the Bible app. And it was kind of crazy. So I really felt like the Lord was calling me just to stay at home and focus full time on my daughter. And no joke, during her nap time, I accidentally started a global movement like 2 months after I quit. And it was kind of, it was
Wow.
crazy because here I am in this place where, I used to make, over I made 6 figures plus some, right? And it was just crazy. Like, the Lord had really blessed us financially, but now here I am in this place
Yeah.
where I post this reel with Dayspring cards. I have a great relationship with them. They're also local, like 30 minutes from me in Salem.
Wow.
So they had given me a pack of cards and I just recorded myself and I was like, oh, that I have some free time during her naps. I could write a few cards thinking 40 people would sign up. And I legitimately put my phone down and I remember picking it back up and it has 100,000 views. And then it's going up
Wow.
and up and up. And I think it was within a week, we had 4,000 people sign up
Oh
for a
my.
free, well, it was going to be a card turned into postcard because it was cheaper, right? From a
Sure.
postage
Absolutely.
perspective.
Yep. Don't have the extra handle. Yep.
Yes. And then, a long story short, now I just did a Q1 report and a recap from all of this last year. We have sent out over 24,850 postcards in
Wow.
1 year, which is literally like handing a postcard to every single person in Auburn, Alabama,
Oh,
or
that's
Madison Square Garden
cool.
sold out.
Oh,
So
let's go. I
it's
love
crazy.
those
But
that connection.
yes, but I'm to your point, what you were saying, for
Yeah.
me, I knew with the last book that came out, not really the one where we'll probably talk on this one too, but
Yes.
I had a book called Purposes at Pause that really hit me in a pivotal moment in my life where really I started realizing there was more to life than just
Wow.
more status, more money, climbing, striving, all of that. And so I feel like these postcards are a tangible reminder of your purpose not pausing, because the one thing I hear with these cards every single time, it doesn't fail, is, man, God was right on time. And so with that, it really, funnels into just the movement's name, which is the Purpose Isn't Pause movement. And it's just this notion that your purpose doesn't pause and that God is just always up to something and he's right on time. And so anyways, these are tangible things people can
Such a
hold and
critical
know.
medicine.
Yes. So anyways, that is the postcard story.
So just let me first off geek out on the postcards, like I said that I was going to.
Yeah, I gotta hear.
For some reason, I have always been really attracted to postcards, and I found this bound book that you can pull out postcards one by one and mail them out, which you have to do
Yeah.
this as a thing to put all your postcards together, and then people can buy it and mail postcards. But every time I went to go pull one out, I was like, no, I like that one for me. I want to keep that one for me. They became frameable and I just loved all the frames. It was actually a part of where my color palette was derived from. Ooh, look, celebration on the
Look,
screen.
celebrate. Yeah.
But I loved it so much because it's like life in your mailbox. People say happy mail and they assume that happy mail has to have a big valuation to it, right? Like it has to be a trinket or has to be something. But honestly, people just love words. It's the whole reason the word of God can illuminate your soul. And if you open it and you read it for yourself, it's enough. And so I
Yeah.
just think that postcards are such an element of treasure to people. It reminds them that you're thinking of them, even no matter how far you are. And then the
Yeah.
postcard story continued that my other podcast called Girls Gone Holy, we
Uh-huh.
started on a women's retreat where I just gathered these girls together because I was feeling kind of lifeless in my entrepreneurial
Yeah.
journey of connection. And they had postcards hanging in the Airbnb of the Airbnb, like pictures of the Airbnb. So I took all of them and then I sent them out a year later to the girls who I ended up starting the podcast with. And it was just like, remember where it started. Like we had no idea what God was doing. We didn't intend to start a podcast, but this is the purpose doesn't pause. Like I was trying to pause. I was literally like, I need a break, time out from entrepreneurship. And God was like, yeah, sure, you can bring all of those women together, but purpose doesn't pause, which is her podcast. You guys got to go check it out. And he revealed more in that time. So I think this is just such a powerful message for right now, which is also another element of your other book. Talk to us about the newest book that's out and why now, even in the midst of, guys, she's pregnant, she's got a baby. I don't even know if you can call her a toddler yet.
Yeah.
They're in the middle of a move. She's got this global movement happening in the midst of a move, and she still has stamina and life and joy. Talk to us about how you were able to write another book.
Oh my gosh. So it's actually so crazy. So this book really started when I was still at YouVersion, and I'd had this message at first on like fear. I was like, I'm going to write on fear. And I drove back and forth with working for YouVersion. I was remote. I was driving back and forth almost like every week to Oklahoma City to be with the team. That's where the team's headquartered.
Okay.
And so I had like a 3-hour drive. I'd leave at like 5 a.m. I would get this huge like 7 brew coffee, which started here and now's all over. So I'm like, okay, some of your audience probably know what I'm talking about. I get the large and I would just like turn on worship music and just pray. But during this time, I was specifically really praying about this book because I had a deadline coming up. And we hadn't really landed on the subject. So there was like kind of some wiggle room. Purpose Doesn't Pause had just come out and all of that. And so at first I was like, okay, I'm going to write about fear because I just like, that's something. And then the more I prayed about it, Tamra, the Lord was like, just nudged me through his spirit of like, no, it's not actually fear of doing the thing. It's fear of not doing the thing, Hope. Like that's what people right now are struggling with.
Good.
And I didn't even know, Tamra, that I was just a few, weeks away from leaving my job, which YouVersion was always my dream job. I was like, that if I get that and like we're in a place financially and all these things we can do that's where I'm going to stay. Anyways, the Lord always does the crazy things.
But he gave you your heart's desire at the time, right? Like that's the cool thing. It's not void. He gave you and then he revealed more.
He revealed more. And so, Tamra, it's crazy. So I start writing this message on the fear of missing out, not knowing that I'm about to quit my job, not knowing that like my brand new Yukon's about to be for sale on Facebook Marketplace. I actually still drive my husband's truck. Not knowing, even after the book, like that we're downsizing homes and, downgrading, like we're moving to this place that's much cheaper than the home we're in now. And like just what God was going to call us to. Mm-hmm. Anyways, Tamra, it's so crazy because I scrapped the book, like the fear piece and then went to the fear of missing out. And it was during that time that literally, I feel like this book is almost just like a personal testimony because it was just like chapter by chapter. Yeah. I was just sharing the transition and the transformation. The Lord was taking the girl who was sold out, was supposed to be an executive someday, the largest company in the world, Walmart, to being a stay-at-home mom behind the scenes, and getting to steward a movement where honestly it requires me to really do nothing so that he can move in the way that he can move. Like so yes, that is the story. And we were kind of trying to land on a title. And at first, the original title that came to mind was The Present is the Present, because I think so often we miss like this present moment. But then the David C. Cook team came back with Now Over Next. And I'm like, that is so beautiful because I think in this world, especially in Western, culture with the United States, there's so much focus on what are you doing next? What are you doing next? And there was always so much pressure. And now just like hitting 30, I'm realizing it's like, I just trust that God's got whatever is next coming. And I don't want to miss now. I don't want to miss like potentially my last pregnancy. I don't want to miss my little girl being 2. I don't want to miss, what God's doing and pruning in the midst of moving and taking us from this one place that felt like a dream home to this place that feels like freedom. I don't want to miss
praise God for that.
Now. Yeah. And so anyways, that's a message. And I feel like really for the first time, I've had a whole bunch of friends like, man, God's really requiring you to like, not just live, like not just write this book, but like really live it out. And yeah, I haven't really felt called to promote it, which is interesting. And it's just, I feel like it's more so just the Lord continuing to teach me this
Yeah.
message even after it's been released.
Oh my gosh, girl. Every book that I've published, I feel that way.
It's
I will literally be
crazy.
writing it, thinking for all these other people, like
Yeah.
hoping for all these other people, knowing this is the message for these people. And then God's like, and it's the message for you. And I then am publishing the book, living out the very thing that I thought I was going to do for other people. Every book. And I've actually heard a lot of other authors, Lisa Turkers talks about this all the time.
Yeah.
God gives her the idea so that you've simmered, so that you've sought the Lord even before
Right.
the thing transpires. And so, what a
So
beautiful testimony that, like,
yeah.
He even calls us into Him in the purpose when we're like, we want to give up, we're done, we don't want to do this anymore. And He's like, but remember what you wrote. Remember, you're going to be a woman of your word. Remember, I'm going to carry
Yeah.
you through. And so there's so much excitement around that. And interestingly, another overlap here, Hope, is I'm about to share on a TEDx stage in a couple of weeks. And the theme is turning no into now. And
Wow, I
so
love
there's
that.
kind of this overlap of
Yes.
like, it's about the now. And for
Yeah.
so long, especially as women, it's a women's event specifically, is women have been told no